Hello Trekkies and welcome back with another episode review of Star Trek Short Treks. Today we're going to talk about the Brightest Star, the one episode that features Saru, the Kelpian himself. Well, if you kind of followed my previous reactions for this Star Trek Short Treks, I wasn't really happy with it, and I never really had this strong connection with the first episode, The Runaway, although that was a nice episode for Tilly, even though it was led us with many questions and it was a bit controversial. Calypso started out to be a good one, but then it just got too many questions and I think it got carried away with other things that didn't really make sense and still doesn't really make sense. Kinda had reservation with this one, although I was still hopeful because it's a Saru-centered episode. And Saru's being the fan favorite so far of Discovery, I think it gave us a little hope that this episode might give us something really great and really cool. And it certainly did. I have to say, this was actually a really good episode. So Doug Jones did a brilliant job in this episode portraying Saru, the Saru that we got to know from Star Trek Discovery, well, the pre-Discovery Saru. So in this episode we got a little insight of Saru and where he was living. Actually, we got to know that his father is the one who conducting these rituals, that, you know, people just got disappear and then probably they got enslaved, but, you know, that's how we keep the balance. So it was interesting to see that his father basically plays a part in this slaughter, that, you know, eventually killing other Kelpians or transporting them somewhere else and probably serve them for dinner. It's really interesting to have this in a family that, you know, your father basically sends off people to die eventually because they never return back to the village. It was really cool to see Saru has a sister, and obviously from now on we kind of relate more to the character, that if he will go through a struggle. This episode really helped deepen the connection between Burnham and Saru, the friendship between the two characters. Now I can see more into their friendship, what they've been through and what they actually went through all over the years till they got to the point when, you know, the Shenzhou got destroyed. And even though going forward it was really interesting to see, and I think it was a really interesting aspect of the show that Saru kind of was this young Captain Picard looking up to the stars and dreaming what's out there and just wanted to get answers. And it was really interesting to see this kind of a personality thinking about the same thing, and eventually every human being is thinking about the same thing. What's out there, and when we gonna know what we don't know yet. And that space it is, that's our life. We always looking for questions, we're always looking for well, questions and answers, and mostly answers to be honest, but questions as well. And I think in this episode we really got this sense of Saru, of even thinking about ourselves, that we're looking out for the stars, looking out for answers, and he is looking out for answers as well. Not accepting his society, not accepting the way how they live, and questioning every single thing that basically the society, the Kelpians are doing, and how they're behaving and how they react on certain situation. So it's a really interesting fusion and really interesting storytelling in this episode. I really enjoyed watching it, honestly. There was one part that I was thinking it was a bit familiar for me when I was watching the conversation between Saru when they were on the dinner table, and they having this conversation, and Saru was asking his father like, hey, what's up there, can you tell me more information? I was like, hey, what's going on? And his father basically just dished him off like, yo, you're not supposed to ask this sort of question, you have to keep the balance, and you just stop thinking about what's up there, just do what you do, and if you will get elected to be killed, then you should be grateful because you're helping to keep the balance. Well, thank you for that, but, you know, Saru wasn't really happy and wasn't really ready for actually being slaughtered. And so that kind of conversation reminded me of Star Trek Voyager and the first episode of Star Trek Voyager, Caretaker, when Cass wanted to leave the Ocampa homeworld, and she went back with the Voyager crew to the Ocampa underground base, and they basically started to talk about, like, you know, why the Caretaker doesn't want us to know what's out there, why the Caretaker doesn't want us to know what we are, why we're not able to do what we are able, what we've been able to do before. So it's a really interesting parallel between the two aspects of Star Trek, like what we've seen in Voyager between Cass and the Ocampas and Saru and the Kelpians. But maybe I'm just thinking too much. And the message part was interesting as well, obviously him being so curious, and obviously he did his homework before with the little sketches and stuff, so he was like actually rebuilding this communication beacon. Although I do have a question how he was actually able to rebuild the communication beacon that he never been seen before, and he was just like, you know, disassembling it and putting it back together in a certain way, and then voila, you have a communication device. So it was a tiny bit of a confusion there, but okay, let's not get the storytelling that less credit, because this episode actually was really cool. Having these little messages like hello and today, and you know, obviously seeing the Starfleet vessel coming down with the Shenzhou sign insignia in there, so that shuttle was definitely from the Shenzhou, and obviously seeing Lieutenant Jojo was so refreshing and so interesting as well. I really enjoyed their first interaction, and it was kind of a Men in Black situation there as well, asking, like Jojo asking Saru like, hey, if you leave from here you will never be able to come back. It was kind of the Men in Black situation that Kay told Jay like, yo, if you really join to us, to really become a Man in Black, that you will not be able to return to your normal life. You have to disconnect everything that you known before you being a agent for Men in Black. So it was a kind of interesting parallel as well between that part plus Men in Black. Again, I might be thinking too much. So yes, overall it's a really good episode. I really enjoyed watching this episode, and I think it was a really refreshing after seeing the first two, that really we have a little backstory of Saru and how he actually got out from Calpia. I do wanted to get to know more the other race that, you know, slaughtering the Calpians, the other race that hunting for the Calpians, and a bit more about society, but again, as previous episodes, 15 minutes, not too much to talk about, but hopefully in the future seasons we're gonna get to know more in, you know, in regards of Saru's race. Maybe he will visit Calpia, Kaminar. So maybe one day he will go back to his home planet and he will revisit the planet, and maybe we find out his father is already been like sent up to keep the balance, and his sister is the one who's keeping the balance. And hopefully if Star Trek Discovery will go back to the roots of Star Trek, that we're gonna get some more discoveries, more episodic adventures in every single episode, and more discoveries, more exploration, more that was Star Trek about. Probably we're gonna get back to Kanamar, and we're going to see these races again, going to see Calpians again. I really hope this will happen. But regarding to this episode, from me it's definitely a thumbs up. I really enjoyed watching it. I think first really good sign that we are going to get something really cool in season 2, and the hype is for season 2 is just growing and growing and growing, so I'm really looking forward to season 2, and I think Star Trek Discovery is getting there. It's slow, but it's getting there, it's finding its own feet, and it's start to become Star Trek. Obviously at the end we got a little sneak peek of the next episode, Escape Artist, that features Harry Mudd. Well, Harry Mudd, I'm really looking forward to see him as well, even though he's not my favorite character. Looks like he's going to go through some serious issues, and he's probably going to be in the same situation when we seen in the 4th or 5th episode in Star Trek Discovery in the season 1, when Captain Lorca, or the Mirror Lorca, and Ash Tyler, we all know Walk, was escaping from the Klingon ship. So looking forward to see how he actually managed to escape from there. So loads of interesting things coming up, and obviously good news for the end. We got to know that the Star Trek Picard series will air next year at some point, so that's obviously another things to look forward. So I wouldn't be surprised if after Discovery we're gonna get a sneak peek or something from the new Picard show, and maybe we're gonna get something from Lower Decks as well. So pretty much 2019 looks like it's gonna be a great season, a great year in terms of Star Trek. We're gonna get some more news on the new Picard show, maybe some news on Lower Decks, gonna get season 2 Discovery with Captain Pike and the Enterprise. What you can ask more for? It's just really amazing. Looking forward to 2019. So yes, Brightest Star, the short tracks, the 3rd episode of short tracks. I'm absolutely loving it. So I really love this episode, and probably this is gonna be the first one I'm gonna watch again, because I never watched any of the previous Discovery episodes again. So I'm really looking forward to hear your thoughts about Star Trek Discovery short tracks, the Brightest Star episode. Please let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comment section below. And obviously, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe. New episodes like this coming out every week while I'm talking about Star Trek and all the Star Trek characters and everything that's basically Star Trek or Doctor Who. There's still gonna be a special Doctor Who episode soon coming up to this channel with a special guest. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe to receive all the geekiness every week. And until next time, live long and prosper.